Have you ever wondered if, in today's world, eating out and saving money was a possibility? You see, some people can remember what it was like dining out in a restaurant as a family decades ago. So back then, going out to eat was considered a real treat, something that families would do on special occasions like birthdays or anniversaries. Otherwise, it was considered somewhat of a luxury. So it was a pretty big deal to enjoy a meal together outside of the house. Those days have certainly changed, right? Not only is the amount of times people go out to eat increased, but also the cost of dining out is astronomical these days. Hey everybody, welcome to Thrifty Budgeting. Get ready to savor some delicious advice because today we're going to dish out the best tips for dining out on a budget. Now be sure and stay tuned as we count down from tips number 6 to tip number 1, where you'll learn how to unlock exclusive discounts based on your criteria or affiliation. Now, before we dive into those 6 tips learning about restaurant savings, let's explore some eye-opening statistics about dining out that's maybe going to surprise you a little bit. So, did you know that the average person spends about $3,000 a year just eating out? Really, if you divide that amount out evenly over 12 months, that's $250 a month. And that's not even for a family. That's for a single person. So this should be alarming if you're frugal and looking to save money. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't have a meal if you're budgeting. You just have to be smart about it. So to start off, we wouldn't want you falling for one of those expensive tricks that restaurants use to entice you so you can part away with more of your money. So if you're looking to save a few bucks when you eat out, it's essential to be aware of these clever strategies that they use. For instance, you need to be on guard and protect yourself from falling under the spell of the restaurant's menu. You see, restaurants use menu engineers who combine their knowledge of psychology, design, and marketing principles to create menus that subtly influence your decision. So, for example, on their menus, they will oftentimes cleverly place their high profit items in the top right corner. And they do that because that's where your eyes naturally gravitate. And they'll also use those adjectives like succulent or rich to make those dishes sound irresistible. Plus, on top of that, they use mouth-watering photos and expertly crafted descriptions of these tasty treats that make it tough to say no. And before you know it, something takes a hold of you and you're ordering that premium steak or scrumptious lobster mac and cheese. Oh, for the love of bargains. Now, moving beyond the menu strategies, it's also important to be aware of another tactic that restaurants employ, and that's the art of upselling by friendly waitstaff. I mean, they've been trained to upsell you with appetizers, drinks, and desserts, and they often come with those trays showcasing those decadent, indulgent treats. But you just gotta turn away. Don't look at that strawberry cheesecake. Don't do it. Now, beyond menu design and staff tactics, another subtle strategy to be aware of is their carefully crafted atmosphere. Why? Well, when it comes to their ambience, they have one goal in mind: to make your dining experience so enjoyable that you'll want to stay longer and spend more money. So it's not just about creating a cozy environment or playing that soothing background music. Every element is meticulously designed to keep you comfortable, engaged, and eager to indulge. So now that you're aware of a few of the tactics to make you spend more, you can go in prepared before you order. Now, if you plan to be thrifty, stay that way through the temptations. Make a limit of how much you're going to spend and then don't go over that. So don't cave into those appetizers, expensive drinks, high-priced meals, or desserts. And that way you can make sure to stay within your budget. So now let's dive in deeper and talk about those 6 budget-friendly tactics that's going to help you enjoy your meal and save you money at the same time. Now first, tip number 6 is order this instead. So usually after you're seated, you're greeted by a waiter or waitress wanting to take your drink order. So this is where you can instantly cash in on the savings. So listen up. Drinks in restaurants are their number one moneymaker. Soft drinks have an extremely high markup despite their low cost. I mean, they're buying soda at just pennies and charging the public a couple of bucks or more. And the markup is over 1,000%, which is crazy. A regular soda in a restaurant will run between $2 and than $4, depending on your location and the type of restaurant you go to. But that amount is close to the amount of a tip for a single meal at a local restaurant like Applebee's. So it's not a surprise either that alcohol has a high markup as well. Its markup is only 200 to 500%, but still. And beer does have the lowest markup. But the real money makers regarding alcohol in restaurants and bars are wine and liquor. So if you're a wine lover, you might want to consider bringing your own bottle to a restaurant. So this option may not be available everywhere due to BYOB policies, but if it is available, it can often save you a significant amount of money. Now, typically, you only need to pay a corkage fee, which is usually less than the cost of one glass of wine. But it's always a good idea to call the restaurant ahead of time and confirm their corkage policy, and that way you can ensure BYOB is allowed. Now, if it's not available in your area, don't forget to scout out if it is available at any of the locations you plan to vacation to. So you might be scratching your head wondering why soda's markup is so much higher than alcohol, and that's due to supply and demand. Soft drinks are definitely more popular and widely consumed among the non-drinkers and children, whereas the alcohol market is a bit more limited. So this is where you can save money by ordering this refreshing ice-cold water kissed with a citrusy splash of lemon that can offer you a revitalizing and guilt-free alternative to sugary sodas and alcoholic beverages. Now, doesn't that sound just as appealing as soda or alcohol? Come on. So if you're one that orders soda or alcohol and you're trying to trim your budget and save money, this is definitely a perfect alternative. I mean, most restaurants, water is free. The word of caution, don't be tricked into buying bottled water because it's going to run you about the same price as a soda. So now that we have your drink taken care of, let's move on to tip number 5, the appetizer. The appetizer. That delightful dish served just before the main meal. Now, its goal is to stimulate your appetite, but for some people, it just gets them too full for their entree. So eating out to save money calls for some cutbacks. So it's going to be a good idea to skip that appetizer order. Again, the whole goal is to save more money. Your main dish should be enough for you to enjoy and get full. And you may even have some leftovers to take home. On the flip side though, ordering an appetizer as the main dish is a great option as well. And I mean, it's still just as good as the entree and a lot of times a few bucks cheaper than the main dish. So another idea is that you and your friends can order an appetizer and then split it, and each of you can chip in and then split the cost. But do keep your eyes peeled if the restaurant offers free chips, salsa, or bread. Now that can be more than enough to serve as a great appetizer. So fill up on those freebies and take your main dish home for a meal later. Cha-ching. Yeah. So here's another tip that is going to save you some money, and that's tip number 4. Go to a restaurant with a bar. So you can usually find these combos at hotels and casinos. So one of the little perks that's not always advertised is there's usually different menus for the bar and the restaurant. It's solely for food items and not drinks or alcohol. The food for both sides come out of the same kitchen, so no diff there. So the chefs like to keep the restaurant side more fine dining with diverse dishes, rather than chicken wings and greasy fries that you can get on the bar side. So just think of the restaurant side as more sophisticated. So on the bar side, it's more casual and you're going to find a wider array of finger foods there. So the bar will typically serve smaller portions of the restaurant's main course as appetizers. And if you do this, that's really going to cut down on your cost. And it also will encourage customers who order off the cheaper menu to have the option to tack on an extra side or two. But don't get too down. Just because you're on the bar side doesn't mean you can't have a nice steak. And sometimes it can be a few bucks cheaper. Now, if those tips don't have you motivated about eating out and saving money, this one might. And that's tip number 3, discounted deals. Now, don't forget about happy hour. You just need to go within the restaurant's set time frame when they offer the lower prices on certain foods and drinks. And it's a really popular time for people who like to socialize with their friends or coworkers or even meet new people people. So by timing your visit a bit earlier, you can get a half-priced appetizer as your entree. My friends and I do that all the time. So another great special that you can cash in on is the early bird special. Now this is also a period of time when the restaurants offer meals at discounted prices. And it's typically before dinner time, right before the evening rush hour when prices go higher. So it's a really good way for a restaurant to get business during their off times, and you get to save money. Now the early bird special is popular with those who have early bedtimes, are on a fixed income, or just want to enjoy a good meal at a cheaper price. So its time is typically between 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. But as you know, those time frames can definitely vary from place to place, so you just want to reach out to the restaurant you're going to and check with them about their schedule. So here's the cool thing is that some restaurants will offer both the early bird special and happy hour. So this will allow you to have lower prices on both your food and your drinks. So be sure and ask the waiter or waitress if you can combine the two. Usually that's often the case and they'll accommodate you. So another great way that you can save money at a restaurant is tip number 2. Use coupons. Don't forget about the coupons. And yes, they're still around. You can find them in the Sunday paper. I mean, they're loaded with pages and pages of coupons. And a lot of times too, they'll mail out the coupons to encourage you to go out and grab a bite to save a little money. Now, my favorite way of getting the coupons is getting them on my smartphone. And so you can really cash in on that. All you have to do is download an app of where you're going to be going. Now, a lot of fast food places and restaurants have them. Now, something to keep in mind too is that you can get special deals and prices on the app that you can't get in person. And also, don't forget deal sites like Groupon and restaurants.com. They're a great way to purchase a voucher and you can save up to 50% off your meal at the restaurants in your area. But if you're dining out on a budget, that's going to be a given. So when you're on those sites, all you have to do is search for the restaurants in your area that have special offers. So if you do find something, you can literally cut your dining bill in half. You just want to make sure to check the expiration date and any conditions that apply. So now we're down to the last tip that you can save on. Tip number 1, your status discounts. So now you're in the money saving mode. Don't forget any status discounts that you can cash in on. Restaurants offer all different kinds. So one, for example, would be active duty and veteran military personnel. Restaurants will show their appreciation by offering them discounts as a way of saying thank you for their service. And also, teachers can sometimes get discounts when they go out to eat. Now, quite a few restaurants and food chains have exclusive deals and offer special offers for educators, especially during Teacher Appreciation Week. But that's not all. If you're a student and have a valid ID, you can score some awesome discounts at select eateries. So it's definitely a smart move to save some cash while you're in school. Now, other notable mentions for status discounts are AAA and AARP members, who can usually get special pricing as well. Let's not forget our servicemen and women, such as police, firefighters, EMTs, and first responders. They can earn discounts at restaurants as a thank you for their service. Now, regarding menus, kids and senior citizens get their own special prices. And use a smaller portion size, driving the cost down. So cash in on them when you can and save money. And those are some nifty tips on eating out and saving money. So the next time you're headed out to eat with family and friends, give these a try. You may be shocked at how simple it is to make a few adjustments for savings. And hey, let us know in the comments if you have any tips on dining out and saving money. And if you're not already, we would love for you to become a part of our Thrifty budgeting family. So be sure and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any videos on Thrifty budgeting. So let's connect and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.